Coach, obviously a lot has been made of your passing game and Chad, but talk about your running backs a little bit. You bring back two veteran guys in Wilkins and Judd, and of course you got Swinney coming in. So just talk about your running game a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of like. I wish you wouldn't have brought that up. I kind of like going under the radar with those guys a little bit because secretly or inside, I'm really excited about them. I think Akeem Judd and Jordan Wilkins they turned a corner last year toward the end of the season and how they ran the football. And really excited about Eric Swinney this spring, the physical runs that he had. You can, when your defensive guys are talking about, man, it is painful to tackle a guy. You kind of like that, and that's what I hear over and over again when they talk about Eric Swinney. So I think we've got some veteran leadership there, and some young talent. So excited about that. I think that should improve our run game.
Right side, third row in the green shirt.
What can we expect to see from a production standpoint out of Marquise Haynes now that he's going to take on a bigger role in the defense?
Yeah, Marquise has been phenomenal in his 2 years. That's one of the kids that I love all our players, but that one's really dear to me. He comes by my office every single day to check and see if I'm there and wants to have a short conversation. Always ends by saying, "Coach, I love you." And it wasn't always that way when he first got there. It was he had a hard time learning to trust, and then he started having success on the field. What a freak of an athlete he is. I mean, he's just he runs so well and competes on every play so hard. I expect him to be one of the leaders in sacks again in the Southeastern Conference, which that speaks for itself.
Also on the right side, third row on the aisle.
You do believe that the NCAA issue going on possibly stems from people just wanting justification that 2013 class there's no way it could be on the up and up just because it was so in the spotlight that's kind of maybe taking the story beyond anything you really imagined?
All right, tell me one more time the question.
The 2013 class, just all the hype it received and maybe people believing that there was no way it could be on the up and up just given where Ole Miss was at that time. Has that kind of taken this thing to a whole other level with what's going on?
You would probably know that better than me. My perception is probably skewed a bit, and you would say, our success, even though I don't think it was, our success was, I think it was gradual. I think we've had to work really hard. I mean, that first year we won 7 games, and we had 0 draft picks. Next year we won 8 games and had 1. I mean, we've had to work hard to get where we are. And obviously, getting the national guys, that class, that's when really all of the hype out in the social media world started. But again, that doesn't, we're going to continue to recruit well. We have under great scrutiny, and we recruited well, and we're recruiting well now, and I expect it to continue because of who we are and the environment that faces us. But at the same time, I'll say again, if things were done that were not right, we'll be held accountable for those.
Front row, left side.
What's been the most frustrating part for you personally throughout this entire process?
Probably the length of it. That it's just. And some of it's our fault, obviously. We probably, if we didn't have draft night, we would probably be over, right now. So it's, I don't say that but not being in tune with where everything is, and really just not knowing. Sometimes if you sit around and you think about, man, I really wish I knew where we are in the process. Sometimes that can get the better of your mind. Fortunately, I don't let that happen too often. It's difficult when you first start seeing your name being dragged through the mud. That's not fun. But you kind of come to grips with that, and you know who you are, and you know what you stand for, and the people that know you know that, and your players know that, and that's the most important thing. And then you know that really the day that really matters is the day we get to share our side with the Committee on Infractions. So, but I guess the most frustrating thing is just the length of it. Now, I would venture to guess that any university that would have this length of an investigation, there's self-reports every year, which, again, I point out that we self-reported many of the things that you see there.
Right side, second row.
Coach Chad missed some playing time in the spring, so you got to see a lot of your backup quarterbacks. Talk about them, that either one of them separate themselves.
Love them both. I think Jason Peller's going to play a role for us in the RPOs, the run pass options, and I think Shea Patterson is a really, really, really good quarterback.
Left side, third row.
Coach, what is it exactly about Ole Miss? Why are they able to kind of match up so well with Alabama? Is it a mindset thing? Is it a schematic thing? What exactly is it?
I think that schematically we probably do some things that give you a chance to have successful plays more than maybe a traditional type offense against those good defenses. I mean, a lot of times ours are not predetermined what's exactly going to happen until post snap, and those seem to have been effective at times against the great defenses that you face there. I think we like the challenge. I'm kind of made that way, and I think our kids they've taken on the personality of us, and I've said it time and time again that they've been the gold standard of college football, and I have great respect for Nick, and we're motivated for those opportunities. We've got a few breaks that you need, but we've made some too. We've played really well at times against them. Even my first year, I remember going over there, and our kids played now. And I remember Nick telling me after the game, "You're doing a heck of a job. Your kids took the fight to us," and it's a great compliment. And since then, we've been able to be competitive.
Right side, front row.
Coach, it's known the SEC West is the toughest anywhere in the country. Is it harder to win the SEC championship or the national championship?
I would probably say the West. I think that I don't know that our fan bases have quite the appreciation for just how difficult it is to win a game in the Southeastern Conference in our division. Particularly when the expectations rise and everybody has good players, everybody has good coaches, everybody recruits well, everybody has good facilities, and then you get in a game and the opponent had the right game plan for you, and all of a sudden you turn the ball over, and you're not going to win those games all the time, and it is so difficult to win a football game that and then you become an awful coach that week, and then the next week it goes your way and you're a good coach again, and you just have to come to know, and we know how hard it is in our building, and but it is a difficult track to be consistent all the way through it.
Left side, second row on the aisle.
Hugh, there have been some national stories, some national radio shows that have cited other SEC coaches, somewhat specifically sometimes, somewhat pretty vague sometimes, accusing your program of not doing things the right way or cutting corners or whatnot. I'm curious how much that bothers you, and then secondly, do you ever have any interaction with coaches who've brought that to your attention where you all have discussed that?
It bothers me that we live in an age where innuendos and unsourced people are named. I've said before, and I've said again, if you'll tell me who that coach is, I would love to have a conversation with him. And I have great respect for the coaches in our league, and I don't believe any of them. Why would you have an interest in cutting corners? And I don't personally believe that any of them have ever thought that about me personally. There are the things that happen outside the spectrum of your building that you can't control. We'll find out and be held accountable for those. But no coach has ever. Matter of fact, most of them have. Hang in there, man. We know what you're dealing with. It could happen to any of us. Those type things. This too shall pass. So I'm not sure what to make of that, but I've kind of gotten past all of that. I mean, I like all the coaches in our league, so I'm not sure who they're referring to. If they'll tell me, I would love to go have a conversation with them. What was your second question? It was answered. Okay.
We have time for one last question here on the left side.
Hey, Hugh.
Hey, Dennis.
Following up on your previous answer about the SEC West, as one of three people walking the earth who have beaten Alabama twice in a row, how did you view Les Miles' November when he went through all that job speculation last year?
Hated it for him. I love Les. He's my daughters like Les, and he's always kind to them, which you're kind to my daughters. You usually I have a fondness for you, and he's been very, very welcoming to me in this league. And I, again, know how hard it is to win consistently in this league, and to see people like Mark Rick and Les Miles that have been really consistent throughout the course of their career at places. I mean, we live in a society that wants results right now. They want punishment hand down right now. They want everything wants to be right now, and you know, and we're kind of a product of what the creature we've created, and it will happen to all of us, but before it's said and done. But you really have respect for the guys in this business, and again, we know how hard it is to win. So, you know, I reached out to him during that time to tell him, you know, man, hang in there, and I'm very glad that it worked out for him.
Phone call, text?
Phone call. Les doesn't text very well.
All right, that's all we have time for. Thanks, Coach.
All right.